sing with us? Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Take it, Tina. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa. And thank you to our fabulous band, Chris, and we have our special guest, but not quite guest, because she's been here a million times, Tina, with us. So Tina, welcome back. It's good to see you. And Brett and Nick. And I'm Reverend Russ Legear. I'm your assistant minister. I am so thrilled to be here with you today. And if you are joining us for the first time, we especially want to welcome you here. And thank you also to all of our live streamers who are sharing this time with us this morning. And live streamers, if you love us, and we know you love us, then we really appreciate when you click that share button on YouTube and let everybody know where our live stream is, because that helps us to share this teaching with everyone in the whole world, and that is pretty cool. And if you are new to the center and you've got any questions about what might be going on here, you can go to our website, CSLSR.org, and that is filled with all sorts of useful information about everything that's going on here at the center on Sunday and throughout the week, throughout the month. And you can find a nice summary by clicking on the photo of the typewriter on our website, and that will take you to our monthly bulletin. And we compile all of the events, all of the classes, all of the talks, everything that's going on into that, so you've got a one-stop shop for everything here. And I find that very helpful personally, so I hope you will take advantage of that too. Also, if you are new and you're wondering what our teaching's all about, what our community is all about, we have a blue welcome packet for you in the social hall at the information desk, and our information desk people can help you find it. And that contains a nice summary of everything that we have to teach here, some what the community is all about. So feel free to take that with you on your way out too if you're new. And feel free to talk to me if you're new. I'd love to meet new people. I met one new person already today. Hi, Jean-Pierre. So be sure to come up and say hi. We really want you to feel welcome here. And if you are looking for spiritual support, we also have a community of licensed prayer practitioners here who are available to pray with you after service. And these prayer practitioners, they go through a rigorous set of courses that helps them to be prepared to pray with you and to share that spiritual support with you. And we offer that prayer service after our service here in person. You'll hear a little bit more about that later today. And we also have a prayer practitioner pamphlet out in the social hall that gives you a little bit more information about our community of prayer practitioners, because they're kind of the backbone of our community, and they're here to serve you. They're here to help you to live that life of your dreams. So be sure to say hello to them. You can recognize them by those white stoles that they're wearing, and they'll be available for you. Parents and grandparents, our youth and family program continues to grow and expand and serve all of our youth here at the center. So if you have a toddler, an elementary or middle schooler, or a teenager, if you're a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, be sure to check out our youth and family program, because it's a really great way to help your kids, to help our kids, to find their way into this teaching that we know and we love. So you can talk to our youth coordinator, Jennifer Caldwell, after service. You can also send her an email to youth@cslsr.org, and she'll give you all of the details about all of our youth programming. And this coming Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the fourth Sunday of the month, we will have Jennifer up here to tell you all about youth and family, along with some, well, maybe musical guests. I'm looking at Chris here. No? Okay.
we had my next song.
Oh, okay. We had a little song with them last week, and we like sharing those things. So, we may have that again. We may just hear from our kids this coming Sunday, but be sure to be here on that fourth Sunday so you can see them, because they love to be here and they love to just be loved up by you. Okay. Now, would you please join me in speaking aloud our vision and our mission as a community? The Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that promotes global transformation through personal transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We are motivated by a compelling vision of a healthy, loving world, which we call the global vision. This vision inspires us to bring the gifts of compassion, integrity, and loving kindness to the world through our programs and teaching. Together, we are helping create a world that works for everyone. And we follow this vision through the 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching, and I invite you to read those out loud with me. Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, and spiritual circulation. So, I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, the prayer, the practices, and Reverend Ruth's message today is exactly what you're needing to experience for the next step on your spiritual journey. Please know that you are so very welcome here. Now, please enjoy some music before our short time of silent contemplation and prayer.
O lover of my soul and keeper of my spirit, nothing can separate us. We are one. Won't you join me? O lover of my soul and keeper of my spirit, nothing can separate us. We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, we are one. Nothing can separate us. We are one. All nations on the earth, and all life upon the planet, nothing can separate us. We are one. We are one. Oh, we are one. Nothing can separate us. We are one. We are one. We are one.
There is only one divine essence, infinitely flowing in, as, through, and surrounding us right now. It is life, formless, manifested, beautiful, harmonious, very loving, and peace. It is the infusion of that love that simply encompasses and holds. It is that spacious wholeness that is within each one of us, surrounding us, loving us, as each of us is. It is a pattern, whole and complete, perfect, inclusive in its divinity, inclusive in its diversity, inclusive of all. And I am one with it, as is each person here today and beyond. Each of us graced with the gift of spirit at our core. Each of us making the world a better place as we are fully inclusive in the diversity of life. I accept for this time this morning the consciousness of inclusiveness, the beauty of diversity, the consciousness of love and wholeness as each of us listens and participates. I give great thanks for this time, and I simply release this word into the law, which always says yes. And together we say, and so it is. Good morning. My name is Peggy Weber. I am one of those practitioners that Russ was talking about, loving every minute of being one. Please join me in the affirmation behind me. I am a spirit being living my perfect human experience, and so it is.
If I could look down on this path I walk from somewhere up on high, I could see the crooked road that I have come. I've walked a mile in sorrow, I've walked a mile in joy, and now I'm less afraid of either one. For every tear I've cried, there's a smile I have earned. For every mile I walk, there's a lesson I learn. And I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. Some people choose to live their lives on quiet avenues, while others find a place in the parade. Some like me are seekers, we take less traveled roads, believing we can find a better way. And though I get discouraged, I won't be turning back. I have joy as my compass and faith as my map. And I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. Now all of us are headed for the same destination, so why not blaze a trail that's got imagination? 'Cause I'm not lost, I am exploring, and life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring.
Good morning. So good to be here. I was thinking this morning, I hear people do this when they get on the stage. They ask people how they're doing. And I thought, if I did that and really listened to all of their answers, it could be all over the place. And then I wondered, do people actually come to the center when they're only having good days, or do we come here when we're challenged? I imagine both of those are so for different people at different times. This morning's theme is perfectly imperfect passions. And I want to start out talking a little bit about that imperfection, sort of the lostness. Has anybody ever felt lost? Recently, maybe. I grew up with a perfectionist dad. I mean, big time. And he was pretty good perfectionist. He was very competent. He had a lot of integrity. He did things well, and he made a point of doing things well. And he always looked like he knew how to be perfect. He set a high bar. And the one thing about living with him is I strove to be that, and I noticed that I could never reach that bar. I couldn't be good enough. I couldn't make straight enough A's to get a good job from him. But if I stumbled, I heard about it. His emphasis always was on how the other people were missing the mark of his perfection. And it wasn't until I was a young adult that I realized that he was flawed and he couldn't admit his own flaws. And I really got to look at this thing of perfectionism, of the flaw of perfectionism, because it is impossible for us to hit that bar of perfection in our human minds and ourselves. There's always this super ego. Do you recognize that part of you that always goes, ooh, a little bit more? Could do it a little bit better. That notices those stumbles. Reverend Edwards been talking about the nature of the mind, and it really is that survival brain that's looking out for the problem. We all have it. We want to have that because there are things we want to be aware of and flee from, or to stand up in fight of. So we are perfectly imperfect in every way. And when I started thinking about my dad, I thought, I just want to kibosh this thing of perfectionism. But now I want to say, my dad was right. We're never going to be perfect enough. Oh, well. Can we be okay with our human expression? Because we are created as human beings. We did not make that up. And it's okay to be where you are. In that joy and that sorrow that Chris sang about in the song. It's okay to feel lost because it's part of the human condition. And so this month, we're talking about passions and purpose. And I was really happy to look into Christian Sorensen's book, Living from the Mountaintop. That's the book of our month. And he's not talking about excelling in our lives. He's talking about the mystical understanding. Because really, that's what we're here about. And what is that mystical experience? It's an experience of the unity of life. That from that higher view, we are an integral part of the one. And the one thing I know about life is it is what we are, and it knows how to be us. And so that corrective mind that's always wanting to be better and achieve more and get further along is just a misunderstanding. Because life is being us perfectly right now. No, I don't want to take away from our goals, our aspirations, our passions to go out in the world and do and achieve and have these big, exciting adventures. We love those, don't we? We hear in our culture, follow your bliss. Do what you love. I actually talked to a congregant one time who had heard a minister in our movement say, if you don't love your job, quit it. And she went in Monday morning and quit her job. And then she called me up because all of a sudden she didn't know what she was going to do. No, I don't know how things turned out for her, but I know that life is where she is. My job up here is not to tell you what to do, because life knows how to be you, and that's what I want to remind you of again and again and again. We talk a lot in our movement about working with our thoughts. Think a better thought. Think in alignment with your prayer. The essence of this teaching isn't that we change our thinking to get better. We all want to get better, don't we? Yes? Anybody? But we're not changing our thinking to get better. We're changing our thinking to move more in alignment and to awaken to who we are underneath the clouds and the stories of being imperfect. Do you get that? We are here to understand more fully of what we are, but we're convinced of these stories. I was coming in this morning and it was foggy. It looked cloudy. It looked like, it could rain, which would be a great thing. But I looked over and I saw the sun pressing through the clouds, dispelling them. That's really what we're here doing, is we're uncovering and dispelling those clouds and those stories that have us be less than, so that we can recognize that true love, that urge inside of us, that passion for what it is. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, says that there is an impulsion that drives and brings forth life. It is love. He calls it the cosmic urge. Now, I don't want to take away from your bliss in those exciting adventures we go on. But I do want to remind you that even in your hardest moments, that wholeness and that goodness is right where we are. The thing that Ernest Holmes says about purpose is that the only purpose to be here on this earth, the only purpose of our lives is to live. And as Chris was singing in the song, that's going to look different for all of us, because we're made unique. That's the design of the human expression, that we are unique. Some of us are going to have loud expressions, and some of us are going to have quiet expressions. But I want to invite you, as I always do, to turn within and to find that urge that is a divine calling within, not without. That's reminding us of our truth, so that we start from that unbrokenness. We start from that's already enough and more than enough, right here. We are not those experiences. We are not those feelings, no matter how deeply felt and how long carried within us. The great Buddhist teacher, Suzuki Roshi, said, we're perfect as we are, and we could all use a little improvement. That's the human journey. So we do, in this practice, seem to get better and better. Our lives can get better and better. That's really what we want, isn't it? But we also are in this teaching called to listen to that. That's already okay. That's already deeply abiding as wholeness. Russ talked about prayer practitioners this morning. They're the backbone of our center because prayer is the backbone of this teaching. And prayer is that call home. That those urges and those passions that are calling us out in the world are first a call in to what is it I am and what is it that is mine to express. And it is going to be unique for each one. I just got back from Asilomar. It's our annual summer retreat. The place where Ernest Holmes spoke his famous and powerful Sermon by the Sea. It was his last public address. And I went down to Asilomar with my friend Catherine Jurek because she wanted to hear where our movement was headed. She wanted to see if what we were talking about seemed relevant to our world. And we were both heartened to hear that voice of talking about the world. So, yes, we're here with personal, individual desires, wants, needs. But one of the things that I heard and I loved was that our conditions, and Ernest Holmes points to this, our conditions are calling us to prayer. Our conditions call us forth into our world. So when I'm suffering, I want to come home. I want to inquire within to what's the suffering. I want to listen first to what's mine to do right here. And these people at Asilomar were speaking to this. They were saying the world conditions. And there are a lot of them. And they're less than perfect. That these world conditions are calling us. Yes? We talk every week about our vision and our global vision that calls us out to be something in the world. What's calling you? Because if we're living our life just looking at my little world and what makes me happy, what I want to fix or improve or get, then I'm ignoring a lot of creation. This is our world. Ernest Holmes would say this is a reflection of our consciousness. We have a divided consciousness, us and them, good and bad. We have a world divided. And so we're called to respond. And from Ernest Holmes' direction, our call is to love. Our call is to bring that good. To stand in this truth, to be this expression more and more. The great metaphysician Thomas Troward, for any of you who have studied our teaching, he's the one that really spoke to the law and the using of the law. And yet in his writing, he says that really, what we're doing is becoming more and more, and indeed more ourselves. We're coming home to what's already here. Ernest Holmes in that Sermon by the Sea said, we're not here saving the world. I don't know if we'll ever realize the global vision. That may be a radical thing for a religious science minister to say. I don't know. But I know that if I listen to it, it requires me to shift and open. Right? It requires me to become more in myself in response. We say this in our vision. That we are doing our personal work to realize global transformation. We say that. We say that every Sunday. We read that. Global transformation by our personal revelation of truth. That makes us more compassionate, more into integrity, more loving in our goodness into life, in response to all the people in our world. And I promise you, that's a big enough job. Don't you think? Yes, there's work to be done, and some of you will be actively out there. Marching, activists, running for office, feeding the homeless and the hungry. We all are contributing, but we're all contributing all the time with our consciousness. How is your consciousness? Are you open in that loving stance? I saw a documentary I've talked about here on the stage before. It was of these Tibetan nuns that had gone back to Tibet after the Chinese had run them out. It's easy to hide in Tibet because it's a hard place to travel. And they were climbing up into the mountains, and they went back into their monastery. And this one young nun had just come out of silent meditation for a month. And the person doing the documentary asked her, "Why do you do this?" And she said, "With all the suffering in the world, what else can I do?" That's a quiet but powerful, palpable expression in response. So some people will go inward and pray and live in that prayer. That's what Ernest Holmes invites us to do. You're not going to save the world, but pray every day. Are you praying? What's calling in you, in your heart? In 1963, as a young girl in Georgia, I heard someone calling and speaking that calling. The Lincoln Memorial, Martin Luther King Jr. stood up before this massive crowd and said, "I have a dream." Do you have a dream? And is it calling from a recognition that you are connected to all of life? Does it include everyone? Peggy talked about in her prayer that inclusivity. No one can be left out of your prayer if it's true prayer. Can you hold that everywhere? Can you allow that to be your guiding force? Not as an accomplishment to be achieved, because once we step out into the realm of accomplishment, we're in struggle, we're fighting conditions, but as a guiding force. Loving kindness, integrity, compassion. That recognition that everyone on this planet has been brought here by the divine, is made of that same stuff. That's a big calling for us. When I got home from Asilomar, and I was so happy to hear the voices. One from our spiritual leader who has stepped in after Edward, Soni Cantrell, and she spoke to that vision. And one to our new ministers, one of the young peoples. Speaking of life calling us. And no sooner do I get home filled up with this sense of this calling to be more in life. And one of my friends, practitioners, says to me, "Are we losing our ground of being?" Because, you know, when I've spoken of this before, we used to be a movement that didn't talk about the world at all. The first time I ever spoke about the world conditions as a new minister, people got upset and they said, I come to the center to feel good. I don't want to hear about the life out in the world. But it's our world, is it not? We can lock ourselves in, surround ourselves in beauty and fun and niceness and nice people, but it's our world. And now we have shifted over and we're speaking out loud world conditions. And I think that's a good thing. Can we do them both simultaneously? That's the call. That's the personal transformation that brings about global transformation. That we don't forget the ground of being. That we don't go to the centers to become activists, that we go to our centers to reground in who we are in that urge within us. And remember that urge comes from a source that is infinite. We are empowered to be who we are. And we all have our unique journeys. And what I know, I really know this, is that we're not broken where we are. One of the things that I hear so often from people who come to see me, this idea of what's my purpose? People wanting to find what they love to do because everybody has this idea, I have to do something that I love. And I have to have a purpose. And I love all of that. But I recognize, as I explored this, I could really feel it and see it, how much we have a cultural overlay that says you have to be something. Yes, do you get that? It starts out when we're little kids. What are you going to be? We carry it into our adult conversation. Well, what do you do? We all want to know. What do you do? What are you? Let's start there. We have this overlay that has us struggling and efforting against ourselves. So I don't want to take away your drive for purpose and passion and loving what you do. I just want to remind you that that love is full-orbed where you are right now, the same way the sun is full-orbed no matter how thick the clouds can be. And we want to recognize that. We want to take time to feel that. Do you take time to feel it, to connect, to listen? One of the things that Ernest Holmes said in his textbook, in that early writing, he not only asked us to listen after we pray for what is ours to do, he invited us to listen before we pray. Listen before you pray for that is yours to pray. What is it your inner being, your soul, your heart of hearts wants to know? Pray that. Be that. Martin Luther King became just a teacher, mentor, idol for me because he had that vision and that dream, and he walked that. I'm sure he stumbled a lot, but he walked it. He walked that justice. He walked that peace. He walked that love and that inclusivity. He wasn't fighting against. He was standing for all people. What is your calling? If we're going to realize the global vision, we have to be it. Not just words that we say on Sunday morning. I'm not talking about an efforting. I got to find the thing to do now. I'm talking about a listening. What's guiding you? What is that urge, that love within you directing you to be? Right now, we look too far away. Right now, can you feel it? And then give it voice. Right now, can you be that calling? Right now, can you be that love right where you are? Edward invited us last week to be angels for ourselves and whisper the things that we love. He invited us to be creative and find things in just in the moment. Not down the road, but just in the moment, and do that you love in the moment. Just pick something and do that. I invite you to be an angel for yourself and whisper your truth. Find that goodness in your being. Whisper the truth of your being, the goodness, the love, the wholeness of being. Because God knows we have enough voices that tell us otherwise. Do you have those voices? Sometimes they're outside in our world, and sometimes they're just in our own heads. But the thing that I had to learn, and I've had to learn and remind myself and again and again and again, is those voices have never, ever, ever been real. My dad's voice of "you're never going to hit the mark" was never the truth of my being. Those voices that tell you you have to do more, you have to be more to get better, are not the truth of your being. What's calling you? It has to be the same thing. It's the divine in us and as us. It's that one life, and it knows how to be you because it is you. And it doesn't have a corrective voice. That's the good news. It's not judging and assessing us where we are. It's saying, "You're here right now. I'm here. You're enough right now." Can we listen to that? For years, I used to go up to the Angela Center. Unfortunately, no more. But we used to go into the chapel on Wednesday mornings and pray and meditate. And you could walk into this room, and it's a place that had been prayed in over and over, and it felt juicy, alive. You know that feeling? Just filled up with prayer. It was palpable. I loved being there. Just walking in the room just felt like enough. And then one day, a group that was using the Angela Center was in our chapel on Wednesday morning, and we went over to a meeting room. And we all sat down together, same group of women, and the room felt flat. That's all I can say. It just felt flat. It didn't have that juiciness. And I started to feel this disappointment in me. I missed that juiciness. And then I realized that we are what brings the juiciness to life. The reason the chapel felt so alive with prayer is people prayed in it. The reason your life feels how it feels is your job to pray it up, to pray yourself up, to whisper those words, to fill up on that love that lives at the center of your being so that you can be that love, so you can bring that love. And then when you hit that condition, that thought, that feeling, that experience, you come back to prayer. You pray it up. That's the core of our teaching. I remember when I was in ministerial school at the end, we had to go give talks, which was never my intention, and it was something I did under duress. But we got invited to these different centers who needed speakers, and I used to go up to Mendocino and Davis and give talks on Sunday morning. And I'd have these feelings, these experiences afterwards. I would feel like, oh, wow, that was good. I really hit the mark. Do you know those feelings? I felt in the zone. Yeah, I hope you've had those experiences. I was right on, right there. Somehow it came through me just right. And then I have talks that felt off. I don't know if they were off, but they felt off. My chattering voice was louder than my voice that told me, good job. But I just felt off. And I went back to the listening in Edward's class on homiletics and the writing and giving of sermons. And he was talking about us, and he kept telling us we have to practice. You do this and you do that and you create this and then you practice and you practice. And early on, I'm going to say this out loud, and I think Edward's in the social hall. Early on, I threw that out. I thought, I can't do that because it doesn't feel real, and being real and authentic and in the moment, it's all I know. It's what I bring. And so I stopped. But when I'd have these off days, I thought, oh, well, maybe Edward was right, and I just need to prepare more and practice. But really, when I started investigating it, I realized that it wasn't about practice or not, preparation or not for me. It was about, am I connected? Am I grounded in myself? Am I open and available? So I invite you to investigate that. Am I grounded, connected? Am I open and available? Because the divine urge, that love, knows how to be you and express in your perfect expression. This is what prayer is. Coming back to that truth. And so let's do that right now. As we turn within, we simply recognize that abiding presence of life itself. It is the one source, it is that creative power that animates and unfolds in and through and as all. Nothing, no one left out. Here, alive, juicy, the very vitality of life, breathing every breath. Beyond all conditions, perceptions, ideas of this and that. There's a oneness, a wholeness, a vastness of being that surely is right here, right now, in its fullness. Life not broken, not missing, not separate. We call it by many names. It is God, the divine spirit, love, life, the one intelligence, right here. And so I know it as the very life of my life. There is nothing else. That has given birth to me, birthing anew right now, that expresses and infills me, that is the very stuff of which I am made. Right here, calling forth this moment. And so I know it absolutely as the truth of each and every one of us. No exceptions. No one left out. No condition, no feeling, no experience can take away from that truth, that divine urge living in and as us. It guides us, it directs us, it unfolds through us, and it is here, always abiding in this moment, right here. And so I simply open to this awareness. I make myself available to that informs. It informs from the within. It informs from the without, for there is no in and out in the divine. And it is right here in each of us. Breathing every breath, beating every heartbeat, and living as us, and all that is ours to know and do. Right here, fully present. We are perfectly imperfect human beings living in the perfection of life. Here unfolding, bringing forth that love everywhere we are. Quietly, out loud, always giving forth that we are. And that we are is truly love. Under it all, through it all, love. And so I simply know and accept this as that greater opening, that surrendering into that divine embrace right now. And knowing it is this that unfolds, and oh, it's the way before, I simply let go into that sweet embrace, to that one power, that one presence right here. In gratitude for this call home in conscious awareness, I simply let this be. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Ruth, for that beautiful reminder and that beautiful prayer. I feel a little bit more zened out. Okay, so now is the time of our service when we practice that spiritual practice we shared in the beginning of the service called spiritual circulation. And what that means is that it is the spiritual practice of giving and receiving. And the idea is that it's like the circulation of the body. If there's a stoppage in one area, then that can impact the other areas. And that's how we view the idea of giving our gifts, our time, our talent, and our finances. So for the offering portion today, I want to share a few different ways that if you wish to give financially, you can share that with this community, because that helps us to share wonderful talks like Reverend Ruth and all of the other programming that we have here. And the first way that you can give is our text to give by sending a text message to 707-675-2399. If it's your first time, it will walk you through how to set up your payment method, and then you can send it a number afterwards. $100,000 you want, that's great, we'll take that. And it will automatically deduct that from your account, which makes it very fast and easy. It's actually my preferred way of giving. We also have online giving, CSLSR.org/donate, and you can give online there. And by the way, if you are here in person and you give electronically like I do, but you want to participate in the passing of the baskets, which we will do in just a moment, we have these laminated coupons that say, I give to the center by mail or electronically. And I really appreciate these because it allows us to be part of that ritual of spiritual circulation that we engage in every Sunday here, even though you might grab your phone and send out a text message like I do. Okay, so you can also give automatically if you choose. You can sign up for that at our info desk if you just want to set it and forget it, as maybe some of you remember Ron Popeil from back in the day, set it and forget it, right? Some people like to do that. You can also mail us a check, and our address is available to you on our website as well as at the information desk. But before we start that practice, I invite you to enter into the spiritual side of this by turning within, maybe placing your hand on your chest if that feels comfortable, and allow a feeling of gratitude to fill you up and to inform whatever gift it is that you're sharing with us today, whether it's your volunteering, whether it's your prayerful consciousness or your finances, and imagine that that gift is infused with gratitude. And then I invite you to repeat after me. I bless my gifts. I send them forth to heal and prosper. They do amazing work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gift.
Living Spirit, I am grateful. Loving Spirit, I am free. So many gifts upon my table, loving kindnesses to me. Living Spirit, I am grateful. Loving Spirit, for the way, for this rich, abundant living every single day. And I give thanks for the knowing. I give thanks for the way your love is overflowing every time I pray. And I thank you, God, for one good day. Oh, living Spirit, I am grateful. Loving Spirit, I am free. So many gifts upon my table, loving kindnesses to me. Living Spirit, I am grateful. Loving Spirit, for the way, for this rich, abundant living every single day. And I give thanks for the knowing. I give thanks for the way your love is overflowing every time I pray. And I thank you, God. Oh, I thank you, God, for one good day.
Thank you again for all the gifts that you share with us. So now is the time of our service where we get to find out all the cool stuff that's happening here throughout the week and throughout the month. And I am so excited for this announcement. Can you believe that the summer softball season is already over? So that is this Team CSL, our CSLSR softball team. I caught that photo of them at their last game last Monday. And oh boy, they had so much fun playing. That's what I constantly heard from them after every game. They had so much fun out there. And so I just wanted to give a shout out for them and invite us all to just love them up a little bit more because that's, I think, the first time we've ever had a softball team here at CSLSR. So if you find yourself interested in going out there and playing a little softball, the fall season is just around the corner. And you can send an email to our youth coordinator, Jennifer Caldwell, and she and her partner, Jamie Caldwell, will help you get plugged in whatever way. If you want to play, if you want to just help out the team, because that's a thing too. The team has team helpers. That is a wonderful way to get plugged into our community. I'm looking at some of our ball players here today. I see Jennifer's back in the corner there waving furiously to have you come and join the team. So I hope you will check that out. We're so delighted, and we'll have up that September schedule, I believe is when it starts, when it's available. Now, this Wednesday, you have an opportunity to join me for our Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m., where we're going to engage in diving a little bit deeper into what Reverend Ruth was talking about today, about finding our way back to that spiritual center and allowing that to be what sources everything that we do in our world. Because we are in the world, aren't we? And of course, we'll have tea and we'll have goodies. I'll make some bread. And we will have some beautiful music to share with you. And don't forget to bring your friends. I'm glad that Chris nodded there. Like, do I have music this Wednesday? Yes, thank you. Also, you can join me this coming Saturday for our monthly Spirit Walk at 10 a.m., and we're going to be walking at Riverfront Regional Park again. And we had a lovely time there. That was our first Spirit Walk this year, and you can sign up on our website by clicking on the photo of the sneakers. And what that does is it gets you on the mailing list, so I can send you an email if there's any inclement weather or if anything changes. And it gives you an opportunity, if you're looking for a ride, to indicate that you'd like to have a ride share, or if you're willing to drive other people, you can put that on there and then we match you up. So we'll look forward to seeing you this Saturday for our Spirit Walk. Now, we have a number of classes and workshops that are coming up in August and September, and you can find information about them on our website. We also have a flyer over at our information desk that if you want to take a summary home with you. And this coming Sunday, August 27th at 1 p.m., Dr. Edward, myself, and our staff are going to be hosting our new member class. And we host that class about twice a year because it helps us to help you find your way into membership with our center, including all that membership means. So we'll share that with you. We'll share the benefits of membership with you. That there is no cost for that class, by the way, and you'll can join us in person at Wagoner Hall or on Zoom because we're offering this in a hybrid format. And Wagoner Hall is just over in the corner there for those who might not have walked into it. So sign up for this class on our website by clicking on the photo of the dandelion seeds, or if you're here in person, we actually have a physical sign-up sheet if you prefer that, and that's at our information desk. And then on Thursday, August 31st at 6 p.m., our practitioner, Kathy Galvin, is going to be teaching her beloved Enneagram class. And this class will help you to learn about how the Enneagram system is a way that you can learn about how you are in the world, and from that, find your way to growth and expansion of your consciousness, moving past maybe habits that haven't been working for you, and all kinds of good stuff. So Kathy is a lot of fun if you have not met her, and she's a great teacher, so I really encourage you to check that class out, and you can sign up by clicking on the photo of the Enneagram symbol on our website, which is sort of like a circle with a bunch of lines through it. Also, I believe Kathy will be here for the second service. She usually is. If you have any questions, you can ask her then. And then in September, I am excited to share that I'm going to be teaching our beloved class, Beyond Limits. And this is one of our foundational courses. And it's going to be starting on Monday, September 6th at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to also offer this in a hybrid format so you can attend in person or online. And if you are a new person and you're wanting to get a deeper understanding of the Science of Mind teaching that we share here, or perhaps you've been with us for a while and you'd like a refresher, this is the class for you. And we call this class Beyond Limits because what it does is it gives us the spiritual tools that we need to move past any of the beliefs we might have that are limiting how we show up in life. And for me, I know that that helps me to live a more full life, which is great. So I'm really excited to share this, as I've mentioned, and you can sign up by clicking on the photo of the Nautilus shell on our website. And we are also, okay, yep, I already covered that part. See, this is what happens when I go off script. So I look forward to seeing you in that class. If you have questions about it, you can ask me after service. And then finally, not quite finally, I'll get there in a second, but our bookstore has another raffle that you can participate in. And if you're here in person, you probably notice there's a Buddha statue that's sitting on the information desk. That was strategically placed there for a reason, because that Buddha is being raffled off by our bookstore, and you see a slide of it there. So if you'd like to buy raffle tickets for that, you can do so in our bookstore. Now, finally, we are still collecting art submissions for our upcoming art fundraiser at the end of the year. So if you would, if you are an artist and you would like to donate some art to the center to, sell to the community to help raise funds for the community, you can talk to Barnhart. I think I see Bob's got his lanyard art on. He'll be out in the social hall. You can also send us an email if you're watching online, and we will help you to get plugged in with what the next steps are on that. And we're so appreciative. I think we've had like 12 artists already. I'm looking at Bob. No, is it more? 20. We've had 25 artists already. Would you? Oh my. That is so many more. So we've had 25 artists, but that doesn't mean we can't have more, right? So we love that we're this community of artists, and we love to share that art with our larger community. So if that's you, talk to Bob, talk to our art team, and they will get you hooked up. Okay. So it's time to close our service, but if you are having a hard time, if you're looking for spiritual support, our prayer practitioners are here to help you through the form of after-service prayer. And if you're here in the sanctuary, you can go and talk to Vicki over in the corner there, and she will direct you to one of our prayer practitioners, and they will pray for you, and they will know that spiritual truth for you, which I so appreciate, because sometimes I need somebody to help me to remind myself of who I am and who I am in the world. Online viewers, we also have Zoom prayer available for you at that link. And same deal, they will hook you up with a practitioner who will know that divine truth for you. Okay. So if you are able, I invite you to stand and repeat after me. There's something wonderful happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it, just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. So please know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to turn within at any moment to know that you are guided, sustained, and empowered by a divine presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything we do, say, and think, we honor this divine presence within. And so it is. Enjoy the closing music, and we will see you soon.
I release, I let go, let the Spirit run by.